I'm just heading out from the Jenkins shelter. I'm getting an early start this morning. It's about 20 of 8. I slept really well in the shelter because it was raining last night at dinner time, and I just decided to forget setting the tent. I actually had a really bad fall about half a mile from here. Kind of tripped on something, went flying, literally felt like I was airborne. Landed on my knees and my left wrist, and I think that I did not have my wrist in the strap, which I believe might have saved me from breaking my wrist, which is good. And hit the top of my head on a rock, so I have a nice knot right on the top of my head. I don't think you can see it, but it's there. So I'm feeling a little achy this morning, and that was actually the second fall I had yesterday. I have noticed that in these ultras they don't grip nearly as well as my Sauconys did, so I'm slipping a lot more, falling a lot more, which concerns me, and it may be enough if it doesn't get better, if I don't get used to them, it may be enough that I have to change out my shoes, because I just, yeah, falling is dangerous, especially for me. So anyway, but I got an early start this morning. There were a lot of people that seemed like they came in, I don't know, I think we crawled into bed, those of us in the shelter, about 7:45, and there were people that came in after that because there were a lot more tents set up when I got up this morning, and somebody who tented pretty far from the shelter decided to come have breakfast at 6 a.m. at the picnic table, and I know he was trying to be quiet, but I'm a light sleeper and it woke me up, so I got an early start, and planning today to do 14 miles to the next shelter, which is definitely a modification of the ambitious plan I had when I started the week, but I think I just really need to listen to my body, and especially with the extra layer of pain I have from that fall, I need to just be careful. But the good news is there is a place that Bushy Mountain Outfitters is right on the trail, and it has a restaurant, and you can get a hamburger, and that's about 11 miles in, so I am gonna use a hamburger as my motivation this morning, and hopefully I'll be feeling a lot better than I did yesterday, at least in general overall well-being, because it was a really, really rough day. But anyway, I'm off. I'm optimistic and hoping for a good day. I just came across this white rhododendron. I think most of the ones I've seen so far have been purple or pink. And I was also just observing, this one's not doing very well, but the mountain laurel is one of the few wildflowers that's still blooming profusely. I guess it kind of depends on where you are in terms of elevation, but a lot of the rhododendrons I passed yesterday, there's another white one, were purple ones that had lost all their flowers. And as I've been coming up the hill this morning, I've seen a lot of the mountain laurel, the white. And I'm not sure if the white actually turns to pink or if there's two different kinds of mountain laurel, but they're both pretty. So today's starting with a big climb. I've gone 1.1 miles and I still have a little bit more climbing to do. I think it's about 800 miles over maybe 1.2, 1.3 miles. I said that wrong. I think it's about 700 or 800 feet over 1.2, 1.3 miles, and then I get a little bit of level trail for a while, and now as I'm getting closer to the top it is leveling a little bit, but yeah, challenging first thing in the morning. It's also very humid and I'm dripping with sweat already. In fact, another girl just passed me and she's like, man, I am so soaked. And yeah, unfortunately it's a humid morning. The sun is trying to break through, and I hope it will, because I need to still dry out my tent. I couldn't get it dry last night, even though I was in the shelter. I hung it up for a little bit to see if it would dry, but no luck because it was raining. Big surprise. So anyway, I'm looking for some sunshine and a good spot for a break in a couple hours where I can make that happen, and then just keep hiking and looking forward to that burger. After I hit the top of that long climb, the trail gave me a bit of a gift. It's a long, level section of trail where I've been able to pick up some speed. I've been asking the sun if it would come out and shine, and it looks like it's finally trying to break through, which is nice because it's been so muggy and humid. The hike today has been going pretty well, and I'm about halfway through and come across this lovely view of the rolling hills of Virginia, and it looks like a farm down there. And this is actually from what could be a little campsite. There's a fire ring here and a place that you could camp if you wanted to. It would be a really nice place to camp for the night. But I'm moving on because I got a hamburger in my sights, and I think I'm about 3 miles out. I'm walking through a fire damaged area, and I don't know if it's from a controlled burn or from a wildfire, but it looks pretty bleak. It's kind of sad and a little depressing. So this is the view from where you come out near the Bland Mountain Outfitters, and I had a great burger there and packed out a corn dog for dinner, and this is a nice view of the valley, and that's Interstate 77. And I'm heading up this way, and I'll be crossing 77 in just a little bit, but it's only 2.5 miles to the shelter for tonight. That'll make my, I think, 14, 15 mile day. So I'll see how I hike with a full belly. There's a bit of a road walk along here to cross Interstate 77. I've heard it's 1.5 miles, which will mean I've only got a mile left in the woods. Well, I'm heading out from Helvey's Mill Shelter this morning. It's about 8:15, and I think I'm actually the first one to make it out of camp. There were several people there, and it was really a pretty campsite, just kind of nestled among the pines. So had a good night. Everything was dry, not too much humidity, so I didn't have dew all over my tent, and got a pretty good night's sleep. So that was a benefit. And yesterday I did not quite 14 miles, and today I wasn't sure where I'd go, but apparently Trent's Mill Grocery has space to tent, and you can shower there. It's about 1/2 mile off the trail, which will give me about 17 miles for the day. And I think I'm heading there because the first shelter is only 10 miles, and then I think it's like, I don't know, a really long ways to the next one. I want to say like 14 or 18. So instead of going to shelter to shelter, I think I will stop there, and that'll tee me up for another 15-mile hike into Woods Hole, where I'm hoping to either do a Nero or a Zero, depending on just depending on how I feel. So that's my plan for the day. Things are going well. I am definitely a little bit banged up from that fall the other day, and my right knee's giving me a little bit of trouble. But yesterday, as I started hiking, just kind of the kinks sort of sorted themselves out. So I'm hoping that the same will be true for today. One of the cool things about getting out of camp early is that you get to enjoy the early morning sounds. One of the not so cool things is that you get to clear the cobwebs for everybody else. So I'm walking along with my trekking pole up like this. I'm trying to get them out of the way, but they're still landing all over my face, unfortunately. So it's a bit of a sticky situation. One of the things I didn't mention earlier is that this shelter, or where I was at, it's 10 miles to water. For some reason, a lot of the water sources along here have been dried up, even though we've had tons of rain. So it was 0.3 beyond the shelter down a switchback path to get water, and somebody kindly offered to fill my bag for me last night, so I had all the water I could carry this morning. But it's not a good feeling to be thinking about rationing water for 10 miles, and you kind of hope, well, maybe there'll be some trail magic and somebody will leave water at a road crossing, but you can't count on that. You can't count on that, I mean. So hopefully there will be some extra water and I can camel up on the way. But if not, yeah, I'm gonna have to be rationing a bit. I did not video very much yesterday because I was hiking in a lot of pain. My plan had been to go about 16.5 miles to Trent's Grocery, which is 1/2 mile off the trail. But they have camping and showers and that sort of thing. But I got to Jenny Knob at 10 mile, and I was just having so much pain in my foot. It was only, I don't know, I want to say 2:30 or so, but I just really could not bear hiking on, and I didn't want to start out and then realize that I couldn't get more than a couple miles. So I went ahead and stayed at Jenny Knob where there was water, and it was actually a beautiful little site. And so I just rested and was pretty lazy and was hoping that my foot would feel better this morning. And it was kind of weird because it's my right foot, and the pain that I've been having in my heel sort of shifted over to the side to my arch and the inside of my foot below my ankle. And I was like, what's that about? And just finally realized this morning as I started hiking out, and I even taped my foot this morning, and I put my knee brace on because some huge bruises have popped up from my fall. And I think I either did something to my foot when I fell, or I'm walking funny because of the pain in my knee. So I'm just basically a hot mess. And I'm just limping along. I have about 6 miles to go to Trent's Grocery, and my plan is to get to the Wapiti shelter, sorry, which would be 14 miles. But unfortunately, and this is very, very frustrating to me, I just have to listen to my body and have this constant battle going on about, like, how far should I hike, and, you know, am I just being lazy and malingering, or, you know, am I really legitimately injured in terms of needing to take some time to let things heal. I don't know the answer. And there's always that constant pressure in my brain that if I don't hike enough, I'm not going to get to Maine. And been meeting a lot of section hikers, and I almost envy them that they don't have that rush. They just hike as far as they want, and then when they're done and they move on. And yeah, that would be nice. First priority is taking care of my body, making sure I'm healthy, and then hopefully when I am healthy, then I can pick up the miles and make up the difference. But man, is it frustrating. This trail the past couple days has been really nice, and so I know I'm hurting if I can't fly down some smooth level trail. So I'm hoping that Virginia, even though it is definitely not easy, even though people say it's easy, it is not easy. I'm hoping that at least maybe it's got some more of these gentler sections in store for me once I feel better. All right, so here is a little bit of good news. Number one, there's a nice little view down here under the power lines to the valley below. Number two, I am climbing pretty well. Sorry, glasses fogging up. The bronchitis is cleared out and my lungs are feeling strong on the uphill, so that's a positive. It's actually helping me this morning because I'm making pretty decent time. My average time about 2 miles an hour. And number three, my foot doesn't hurt as much on the uphills, so even though it's killing me on the flats and the downhills, I'm doing all right on the uphill. So that's 3 good things this morning, lest you think I've completely lost the joy and joyful rambler. I have a little bit left. I stopped here on this lovely little log for a quick break, and I just wanted to talk about something I've been thinking about as I've been hiking this morning. I definitely want to make the miles, but at the same time I think that it's the right thing to do to let my body win over my brain. And that's hard for me. I mean, if you watch my prep videos, you know how analytical I am and how I think things through so much. And that was really beneficial to me when I was picking my gear for my hike and for planning and that sort of thing. But, you know, that's only part of the journey. And the other part of the journey is actually physically being able to make the hike. And as I was thinking about the distances, I think I could stop at Trent's today, hopefully maybe get some ice and get the swelling down on my knee, rest a little bit more, and then if I'm feeling better tomorrow, I could still get into the Woods Hole Hostel. And as hard as it is to admit that I can't make the miles right now, I think that's probably the smartest thing to do in the long run, just because I do want to get to Maine, and I want to make sure that physically I can get to Maine and I don't let, you know, some of these injuries from falls and things like that become much worse. As much as my brain says go, my body's saying slow it down, take care of me. I am coming down the hill out of the woods towards the road that will take me to Trent's Grocery, and it's a beautiful, very picturesque scene here. This is kind of what I pictured Virginia would be like. I am out of the meadow and back in the woods, continuing my downhill journey, and I can see this beautiful creek down there. It is called Cumberland Creek, and I'm hoping as I get down the hill I'll be able to see more of it. Okay, I'm on this suspension bridge. I didn't realize it was a suspension bridge till I started hearing funny noises and realizing it was wobbling. So, keeping my wits about me. I think this might be the same creek, but I'm not sure because it's definitely not rushing like it was when I was looking down on it, but it's very pretty. I see a fish down there. I do believe that this is my destination, so I'm looking forward to getting and checking it out. Well, it feels like I just packed up at the shelter, but here I am at Trent's and I have decided to go ahead and stay. That's the bathhouse right there with the laundry. There's a couple of campers here, and then I am all set up just right here under this giant sycamore tree. Picnic table right here, and I'm sure there'll be other people come join me later. And there's a creek that runs along there, and I hear if you go down the creek a little bit, you can actually swim in it or take a bath, but I'm gonna shower. So I'm sitting here taking it easy at Trent's Grocery, the camping area behind. And I know this place would not be up to some people's standards. The paint was peeling off the walls in the shower, and the floor is kind of dirty. I actually showered with my camp shoes on. But for me, it's exactly what I needed. I got here around midday and set my tent and was able to get a shower, get my laundry in, and get some lunch. I had an amazing burger, cheeseburger with everything on it, and onion rings that were oh my gosh, it was good. So that was great. I've got something to drink and I'm just sitting here icing my knee. I'm very hopeful that taking the extra time to slow down and get a little extra rest from my swollen knee and my kind of twisted up ankle, whatever's going on with that, that all that will pay off and get me back to good health a little faster so that I can start hiking the miles that I need to get to Maine. So that's still the plan.